I'm gonna ask you. It's the only question I tell people I want to ask them. So
Okay.
to be fair, I always ask everybody what scripture or story in the Bible that they find inspiration.
Okay.
I caught somebody off guard one time. They was flipping. So like, then I told somebody one time, and he had a whole. Chuck had already prepared his. Yeah, I don't want you to prepare. I don't want you to preach.
Sometimes preachers are not comfortable in any setting other than in the pulpit.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. And I don't do meet preachers though. I make it a point to do regular people.
Yeah, it's important. It's important.
Who live a Christian life.
I'm ready.
You ready? All right.
Are you ready?
Oh yeah, sure.
Very good.
And what's the name of the church?
Which church?
Which one do you consider yourself? How do you consider affiliated with the new church now? Not New Wings, it's the new name of it.
Antioch Glory Center Church.
Yeah. Are you still like the apostle of that church, or how's it work?
I suppose you could say I'm the overseer. I have a relationship with the pastor of that church. I have a mentoring apostolic relationship with him, and an overseer capacity with the church. I guess that'll work. Overseer.
Antioch.
Antioch Glory Center.
All right.
You ready?
Yep.
Stand by.
Welcome back, family. This is Empower Living with yours truly, Barrett, the Reverend Dean. We're joined this morning with Apostle Willie Coates Jr. He's just a man who's been around. He says he's been in South Bend for 62 years. And so we're having a wonderful conversation this morning. We left off, we want to talk about, he did something really wonderful. He was pastor of New Wings of Faith, am I correct?
That is correct.
He was pastor for a number of years, and then he transitioned and turned over the realm of leadership, of leadership, to a new young pastor, and now the name of the church is Antioch Glory Center. So, how does one do that? I know a number of preachers now, pastors who are older, and they've been preaching for a number of 30 to 40 years, and sometimes they do have someone to pass it on to, and sometimes they don't. So, explain that to me, your former leadership there.
I attended a workshop seminar at the church that you're part of recently. And I heard, and you'll have to help me with his name, brother from North Carolina, South Carolina.
I forget his name, but Prophet, I think his last name was.
At any rate, he said you're not a success until you have a successor. Now, I've heard that before, but it was great to hear him say that in that particular setting. He had a church growth seminar that he was doing, so a number of pastors and leaders were present, and it was very good for all of us as pastors and leaders to hear that.
Right.
Because we're not always mindful of that truth. We're not really a success until there's a successor. We could have a church with 20,000 people. As you mentioned earlier, we've got mega churches. It's wonderful to see, but it's really maybe not having the kind of impact 20 years, 30 years, 50 years down the road if the Lord tarries that it might need to have. And we need to probably begin to think 20, 30, 50 years down the road if the Lord tarries.
That's right.
And so we're aging. As I said, I'm 62 years old. I need to be passing on the things that I've learned and am yet learning. I need to be passing on the things that I've gained to somebody that I could call a son. I need to have a successor.
Right.
So I've thought that way actually from the very beginning of my pastorate, from day one until the present. And I've always been looking to raise up the next pastor, the next evangelist, the next leader that's going to take over the ministry. So I've been blessed. I've had great guys work with me. And I'm all about long-term relationship. So just because I passed the mantle of leadership of the church over to his son doesn't mean that I still don't walk in relationship with this man. I'm still walking in relationship, and he with me. There's still much to learn. And good relationship is always quid pro quo, meaning I'm giving and I'm receiving. So no matter how old I am, there's still things to be learned. Because things are always changing. Take note of the tremendous technological changes. Our little children can teach us about things regarding computers and video games and all that kind of stuff that takes me forever to try to learn. For them, it's seemingly second nature.
Right.
So the learning process is always ongoing, the old sharing with the young, but also the young sharing with the older.
Okay.
That's my approach.
That's your approach, and that's a brilliant way to do it. And I think we all can learn something from that. Now, one of the questions I ask every guest is, what is a scriptural passage or story within the Bible where you find inspiration?
There are a million. When I came back to Christ in 1981, beginning 1982, the scripture that popped up into my mind, I didn't even know it was back there, because I hadn't read a Bible for 20 years almost.
Wow,
But
okay.
it was Psalm 1. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he'll be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth, it shall prosper. So that scripture came back to me, and it's been a word to me from God that has stuck with me. It's a foundation and an anchor for me.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, as we go get to our close here, but what are the words? I mean, inspire the people. This is the Michiana family, and we're just here having a conversation. And so, what can you share with them that maybe can inspire somebody on this Sunday morning? Get some little pep in their step.
Isaac sowed in a famine and received 100-fold return. We're living in a time when the economies of the entire world have been shaken like never before. The Great Depression of the 1928, 29, 30, back in those days, it really probably doesn't compare fully to the magnitude and the scope and the depth of this great, they call it a recession, but it's more depression-like than anything else. And so many people are afraid and they're shrinking back in their giving, not only of their finances, but giving of themselves. This is a time for those people who know Creator God to become very creative in how we sow not only our money, but our time, our talents, our gifts, everything that we've got. And I believe it's the best time ever for the people of God to rise to the top. In the day of darkness,
That's
it's
right.
time for the light to shine brightly.
All right, family, you heard this. It's time to give right now. This is Empower Living with yours truly, Barrett, the Reverend Dean. We've been speaking with Apostle Willie Coates Jr., a brilliant man of God. He's inspired us. He's moved us forward. Family, don't go anywhere. Stay close, stay near. We have healthy lifestyle tips next with the great dentist, Dr. Paul McLeod of South Bend, Indiana. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. We'll be right back. Clear.
All right.
Man, thank you.
That's quick for thank you.
You know, see, we don't play.
Yeah, that's
dog.
quick, fast, and hurry.
We
Yeah.
come in, we do
Let's
what we
get
have
into
to
it.
do, dog. I mean, you know.
Yeah. So you gonna call me?
Yes.
We're gonna put up.
I need some help with August 7th. I need some
Get
help.
up,
Okay.
I need some.
Yeah, you talk to me.
I'm gonna give you a call.
Where are you doing it?
On Michigan.
Sorry.
Okay.
Michigan Street
And you got a
between
number of different groups and stuff.
Wayne and Western and Wayne on Michigan.
Okay.
Right there. Right there.
Yeah, I know where that
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
Spot.
yeah. You know, we have a slot that's open. Do you guys have a group over at your church?
Well, we have a band that and a group of singers that do the healing song service once a month. Call me. We'll talk about it.